Good morning, children. Welcome to yet another session of Geography, Class 10. And today we start with a new chapter called Water Resources. Now, children, our Earth is covered with 71% of water. This we have already studied. Now, out of the total water that is available, out of that 97% of water we cannot have. Why? Because it is saline in nature. So what we are left with is only 3% of the total water. But out of the 3% also, 2/3 are ice caps or glaciers. So again we are left with a very small amount of water, which may be in the form of underground water, lakes, rivers, ponds, etc. So, for all this, what we need to is conserve water. So, here in this, we can see the amount. This is the graphical distribution of the location of water on the earth, and we can see that 97% of the oceans are saline. 97% of the water is saline, which we cannot have. And the rest, what we have with us is a very small amount of pure water. That is only 3% what is left. So here again we can have a look that 97% is your salt water, 2% is polar ice caps, what is available is 1%. So we need to conserve, for all these reasons, we need to conserve water. Okay, now the type of fresh water that we have and which can be used, it can be categorized into surface water resources and groundwater resources. Okay, now surface water resources comprises of streams, rivers, lakes, reservoirs, whereas groundwater resources would water beneath the surface of the earth. Is that clear? So this is all the fresh water which is available to us. Now, the need for conserving water. There is an urgent need to conserve water. And why do we need to conserve water? These are the points. Now, overexploitation of groundwater. We are overexploiting the groundwater. Now, every household has a pump. And through that pump we are drawing water from the underground, and sometimes we don't even realize excess flow of water is there and there is sheer wastage of water. So what is this all resulting in? Lowering of the water table. Okay, the next point is the global warming has led to the climate change. Now, due to global warming, what is happening? The climate change is taking place. And because of this climate change, which is causing drought and reduction in rainfall, and again lowering of the water table. Okay, next point which is there is that irrigation is utilizing more than 90% of the total water. So, we need to, the fresh water, 90% of the total water is used by irrigation purpose. Irrigation, you understand, children, irrigation is artificial watering of the plants. So, the majority of the fresh water is going there. Then there is an increase in population which is also resulting in water scarcity. The more the people, the more the demand of water, and there is an acute scarcity of water. Our water resources like the underground water, rivers, lakes, etc. are polluted, and their water can hardly be used without adequate treatment. Now, why are they getting polluted? They are getting polluted because we are draining the toxic waste of the industries into these rivers, and we are also draining sometimes the sewage into these rivers and lakes, and as such we are polluting all their water bodies. Okay, now we need to conserve water, we all know. But how? There is one way is the rainwater harvesting system. Now, what is the objectives of this rainwater harvesting? Harvesting surface and groundwater. That means harvesting, saving or conserving the surface and groundwater, prevention of losses through evaporation and seepage. So we have to make, where we are conserving it, we should see that it is not getting lost by evaporation or seepage, and it is aimed at conservation and efficient utilization of limited water. So through rainwater harvesting, we are also seeing that conservation is taking place where efficient utilization of limited water takes place. Okay. Now, this is the way how rainwater harvesting is taking place. As the rain falls on the roof, it is collected there and it is taken down by the pipes to a tank. So, the water is collected in the tank, which can be used for any purpose. Okay, another picture where it is getting collected in the rooftop, and again through the pipe it is coming down and it is replenishing the underground water tank, which can be used by hand pumps. Okay, children? Now, the water harvesting mechanism will have these things, which the one catchment area. Now, the rooftop can be the catchment area, or wherever the rain is falling and is getting collected, that becomes the catchment area. Now, conduit is the pipe. Now, it can be the PVC pipe, or it can be your cemented pipe or iron pipes. Storage facility are the tanks, and recharge facility is your how you recharge, how you replenish your underground water table. So that is your recharge facility should be there. Some underground system should be there, or where the water, you can see in this picture, the recharge ground has been made. So this is mandatory by the government of India also, where the new buildings are being made. So to make the recharge facility should be there. Recharge pit should be made for rainwater harvesting system should be there. Okay. Now, these rainwater, it has not been started in the recent times. It was there since time immemorial, and it is known by different names. So here are a few examples where the rain was collected and they are named. It is called the storing mechanism, or the water is known by different names in different areas. They are called Khatri or Kul in Western Himalayas, Baulis or Dighis in the Gangetic Plains. Especially Dighis they call in West Bengal, and Baulis in Uttar Pradesh. And children, when you visit the Imambara, if you have visited the Bada Imambara, you must have seen a Bauli there. So that is exactly where the water was getting stored. Okay, next is the Johads of Central Asia. I think this is visible enough. Then we have the Bhandaras or the Keri in Deccan Plateau, Surangam in Western Ghats, and Korambu in Eastern Ghats, and Zing in Ladakh. So you learn these names one of the years, then these names had been asked. Okay, now we come to need for irrigation. Why there is a need for irrigation? Irrigation, as I said, was artificial watering of the crops. Now rainfall is not there every time, so when the rainfall is not there, but still we have to water the plants, so that is called irrigation. Now why is irrigation important in India? Let us study this. Variability of rainfall. Now what does that mean? The rainfall in India is highly irregular in place and time. Normal rainfall is marked by wide fluctuations in different parts of the country. So there is utter variability, and for this reason we need to have a good irrigation system. Okay, next point, uneven distribution of rainfall. This you must agree that distribution of India is quite uneven. Distribution of monsoons in India is quite uneven. Western Ghats is receiving more than 250 centimeters of rainfall, whereas Eastern Ghats is receiving between 100 to 200 meters, 200 centimeters. So there is a wide difference in as we go towards the northern plains also and the eastern peninsula. So the rainfall becomes lesser. So this is because of the uneven distribution of rainfall that irrigation is very, very important. Then crop requirements, sometimes different crops require different quantities of water for their growth. Like some crops like rice, sugarcane, jute will need more water, whereas some crops will need less water. So those crops which need more water, for them we have to be ready with the water supply. So irrigation is necessary. Nature of the soil. Now clayey soils have higher moisture holding capacity and therefore require less irrigation, whereas sandy loam will have less moisture retention capacity and will need frequent watering. Okay, next one is our monsoon is only confined to 4 months. The rest of the year, then how will the farmer water the crops? As such, irrigation is a must. Which are the 4 months? It's June, July, August, September. After that, the monsoon retreats. And again, there may be sporadic rains, but the major rainfall occurs between these 4 months. So we need to be ready with a good irrigation system to give water to our crops. To maximize production, the more good irrigation will have a good production, which we can, if surplus, we can export and get a good foreign exchange for that matter. So to maximize production, not only for foreign exchange, for the use of our own people, so many millions of people we have in India alone. So to fulfill their needs, we need to maximize production, and for that we must have a good irrigation system. Okay children, we end here. Tomorrow again I'll continue with this chapter. Till then, please stay safe and stay at home. Thank you.